compatible with my grandma, who we all know loves to talk. So I thought they were always perfect. But when he talked, it was always very meaningful. So I want to give you some examples. Remember one time we were at a cabin, and right when I turned 21, I think, and he comes up to me and he's like, I just poured some Coke and some whiskey, and he goes, "Never ever spoil a good glass of Jim Beam with soda." So that's when I knew that, all right, now I gotta man up, drink this stuff straight. He also taught me that, if you ever go to the racetrack, make sure you don't gamble away your money for your ride home, because he actually did that, and he had to walk 16 miles back from St. Anita to USC. So we always make sure we save a little money. He also taught me never sit in a Granddad's recliner chair. I learned that the hard way a few times, and we started to respect that a little more as time went on. And recently at our, I just got married a couple years ago, and we videotaped him, and he said, "Granddad, give me some advice for successful marriage." He said, "Just say yes, dear, no matter what. A happy marriage." I've been trying that. Been good so far. All jokes aside, many of the values that I try to live by, and traits I try to follow, I can really point to my grandfather and say, that's kind of the person I want to be. He's a humble guy, great sense of humor, well-traveled, super smart. He loves spending time with his family. Even though they live in the middle of nowhere, at every graduation, family event, you expect grandma and granddad to be there always, and that was always very meaningful to us. And lastly, and most importantly, this is the way he loved and respected my grandma. This is something that I'll always cherish and I try to live by myself. And I hope Eric and I have the same long and lasting marriage. As many of you know, Eric and I are having our first baby here in a couple weeks. And although we wish Granddad could have met him, we look forward to telling him all sorts of stories about his great-grandpa.
I think something that we always overlooked growing up was his resounding patience. Because Jeff and I are only 16 months apart, and I don't know if we're the easiest people to be around as little kids.
Or now.
Our parents would go on vacation, drop us off in Bakersfield. Now looking back at that, probably wasn't the easiest job, because we were at our necks most of the time. But, I think through a lot of the times that we spent with him, he was always a pretty quiet man. And didn't start opening up a lot until we got older. And, earlier when you said that life is a journey, we really understood that, wow, by the time he was 25, so much had happened in his life. And so, something that will hold with us forever is how much he accomplished the time that he was here. The biggest thing that we represent a lot is, we cherish the Higgins name a ton, and I think a lot of that attributes from him and the resounding respect he had for people and how much he just loved his family. So, something that I'll remember forever and something that will hold with him and with us forever.
I'll always remember the simplest times with Granddad. Those times we'd sit in the backyard, he'd smoke his pipe, have his Jim Beam, tell us those great stories of working in Venezuela oil fields to the fraternity stories, all of which Tyler kind of went over, and then I tried to follow on by becoming a fraternity man myself and live up to his stories. I'm not quite sure I was able to do so, but Granddad had some good stories. But the other thing that I always thought was great about him was that he lived a true American story. He fought in a war, then he was super happy his kids didn't have to fight in a war, then he saw his kids have kids, them not have to fight in a war, and he always told me that was the happiest thing that he ever got to see, was the fact that neither his kids or grandkids had to fight in a war. So all I gotta say is, here's to you, Granddad, the true American hero.